Had a nice run up there with 830. Created the high of the day, I assume. I don't really want to see this tapped again. Just looking at the weekly profile. Tuesday low week. Excuse me. Tuesday low week there. And then expansion all the way up to Friday. And then TGIF range is right around Asian low. So I'm looking at that as a target, especially since we haven't reversed in any of the 3 sessions here. Original consolidation, expansion up, reversal at the high. You can see closure back below, and then we're expanding now to the downside. We could actually see a retracement back up to the range. This 815 order block has my attention to extend that out to your last up closing candle. Go back over to the 15-minute. I did change the colors here just for today. I just wanted to change it up a little bit. Yeah, nice 850 macro. If you look at it here, to 910. Tracing back up to the order block, you could use that as your selling opportunity. We also had a gap here. Nice shorting opportunity. Stop above the high, most likely. And then you can use that into 930. Nice, probably 20 point. Yeah, 27, 30 point range. Down to the sell side, and you got second TP hit there. So now we're just waiting for the macro time. This Asian low still has my attention. So if we can get down there, I am watching how we react to this 15-minute gap. Zoom out here. Also have a 5-minute gap we're trading into. Morning. So, yeah, typically with the 830 or with the 850 macro, it's either going to be it plays out just as expected all the way to 910, your TP is hit. Or if you see chop like this, like where it's just you get an opportunity to get in and then it kind of meanders around, we're most times going to wait for 930 volatility to get us to our objective. So that means that when you're trading 850 macro, you have to be careful with trimming stops. So I would say if you're getting in here, leave the stop above the high. And if you take partials at 20, maybe drag it to break even. But I don't really see a point in trimming stops with 850, especially when it can just meander around and then use the 930 as about to say. If you go to yesterday, that's exactly what happened too, right? We had 830 news, came down, swept out liquidity, starts trading back up, and then 850 macro comes, fill this gap here, and use it as our buying opportunity, right? Go long, extends up, and then eventually we use the 930 expansion to get above the short-term buy side here and here. So just something to keep in mind. Now that we've watching this 5-minute, we already put the 1 candle closure above, so we got to be careful to see how we treat this gap. If we close above it or close bullishly, watch this to be used as inversion potentially. I'll mark this out as sibi for now, but 5 minutes candle already swept out sell side and dug into a lower time frame and higher time frame bisi down here. So this could be a cause for reversal going into 10 a.m. If you're also familiar with the kill zones and such, 830, you're going to be looking for kind of different windows for trades, right? So 830, if that's your true open, then 830 to 930, we're going to be looking for a trade idea. Then from 930 to 10, if there's 10 a.m. news, and then anything after that becomes low probability. So I'm probably looking for around 10:30 today. So a good 45-minute stream. I don't want to be in it too long because after as the day progresses, when we have 8:30 news, even with 9:30, your probabilities of trades playing out decrease substantially. I'm watching this 15-minute candle. If we close above, let's see, let me pull this up really quick so you can see it. 15-minute candle here. I want to see where this candle closes. If we close above the sell side, I'm looking at it as a reversal for sure. Also tapped into an hourly for value gap. Right now, I'm just waiting to see the daily profile. If the 1 RBC holds, I'll look to long. If it fails, look for Asia lows. I like it. We also could just get a retracement on the 15 up into here. This would be your optimal shorting opportunity, right? With the gap here, with the breaker, back into the gap with the, yeah, this is your unicorn short. So we could retrace up into this range and then displace back down for Asian low. So it closed above it. 15-minute looks pretty bullish there. Same with the 5. Let's go over. Close multiple times above. So we could be looking for this as potential to reverse. Watch it as inversion for short term. If you want to retrace back into this wick, that would be fine. Do we have 8:30 news? And it looks like we did Thursday. Friday's not showing up. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, it looks like such a. This to me looks like news. There's no way that this isn't news. I'd be very surprised if this is just a standard open right at 8:30. All right, so potentially we have this gap with the inversion too. That's already 2 PD rays. I would feel comfortable going long off this, scalping for 20, preferably off the inversion. We have the breaker in here too. I do like it. Your 20 points up from here would be slightly past. Let me screenshot this quickly. Slightly past the short-term 15-minute gap. Could scalp a nice 20 off that. Not going to take it just because it's without macro time, but I think that's a nice trade setup. We got 5-minute candle closure confirming the reversal, expansion above the inversion with about 2 candles, dips back into it with the breaker in mind here. It's already 3 PD rays lined up. Oh, it's a lot. I apologize. And with the bullish order block in here as well with the wick, you extend that out. Now, the only reason we may have some struggle getting above to the 20 is because of the 15 and the 5-minute tiny gaps there. But I am expecting at least a retracement up into some portion of it. Or if there's a buy side sweep, we got this swing high here. Back into premium. We're looking for here to here. We're already in premium. Let's see if it wants to play out. It would be a wick all the way through. So there's your 8:30 opening price. Now, if you're looking for further shorts, scalp it up to here, to the 15-minute gap. Short, this is what I already said, right? Your optimal shorts will probably occur within this 15-minute gap. So let's see, we already got the 10, 12 up to 8:30 high. Different partial opportunities, right? We got swing highs, and we've got the 15-minute gap plus 8:30. See how this bullish order block here wants to hold. It's holding it off the wick. All right. I'm not gonna lie, these colors are messing with my head. So I'm gonna switch it back to. There we go. So right up to the 15-minute gap. Let's see. Holds the order block nicely. That is your 15-minute unicorn, correct? 5-minute up to the gap as well with respect to this. So we got 20 points off of it, or we got 10 points off of it. Up to the 13-minute gap. Nice scalp there. Yeah, I like it a lot. Let's see. There's your above 830 price into the 15-minute gap. That is such a bullish closure on the 15 though. Closing below both the sell sides like that. Let's see. So we're in macro time right now. Wait for retracing back up. Fills it, and then we head for Asian blow. Yep, also respected the 1 hour gap and closing quite bullishly there too. We can see in the 15-minute, swept both the liquidity pools and then closed above here and above here. Holding that order block so far too. So if we were, for me personally, if I was going to go look at taking short, wait for 10 a.m. Yep. Wait for that new 15-minute candle to open. Power of 3 with 15-minute candle on the 10. And then you use the 5-minute in context. Look for 5-minute retracement. Something like that. You can see candle bodies are closing below this 15-minute gap too. See a nice kind of fractal market maker sell model in here with further targets. So we got room for it to run a little bit, maybe retrace back into a bisi, something like that. And then look at scalping the rest. So are we consolidating right at premium here? Okay. So new 5-minute candle opened. Let's see. 5-minute, the PD raise on the 5-minute are holding. Let's take a stab short here within the bisi. I know it's kind of a poor entry. Put the stop at the high of the 15-minute gap. Time to take profit at the low, all the way down here. We'll put it at the low of the AM session. So I broke below the order block. We'll see if we now want to hold that as old selling, preferably the 1-minute candle bodies are staying below. We've got the 5-minute candle bodies respecting the sibi up here, at least even on the 5-minute too. You can see if I extend this out. Five-minute candle bodies there holding. Probably best to wait for 10 a.m. Get too antsy with it. I do want to see how the 15-minute breaker holds as well. You can see this bullish breaker is already holding. And stopped out. Would have gotten the 20 from here? Nope. So I should have waited for 10. 15-minute candle body closing all the way up bullishly. So this kind of candle here, we don't want to see it wick into more of the breaker. Like the fact that we're closing above, you can see the 5-minute. And they're still bearish, but we're closing a little bit further in that you'd want to see. Original trade idea panned out. Who knows? Maybe we'll ditch the macros. Just start trading it as it is. Yeah, expansion up. So 5-minute now, we've closed all the way through this 5-minute gap in premium. Trading into this one. We've got an order block here. This is kind of your, I mean, we've already traded up basically enough where this is not your last on the defense. But if we were to retrace, this is a deep retracement back into a reference point that price would want to respect. Yep, there's the 20. Yeah, 1 hour candle also just closed super bullishly. Yeah, wicks down right here, 953. Another entry given. Can wait for 10 a.m. Let's see. So with these candles, the candle bodies, something that Elijah Pips told me yesterday, if you're familiar with his content on YouTube or any of his posts on Twitter, maybe. We were in a call yesterday. He's telling me about a Twitter space that ICT obviously talked on and gave gems that a lot of people don't know about. One of which being a reversal condition. Like, how do you spot proper reversals of liquidity? Obviously, time is going to be important, as well as where the candle bodies close. So, obviously, with the model, with the specific macro model, we look at 3 different times: 8:30, 9:30, and 10 o'clock to produce a liquidity sweep. And we use the macros after to find the trade. That being said, when we're using an 8:30 news driver or 8:30 just liquidity sweep, 9:30 liquidity sweep, you're going to be watching the 15 and the 5-minute, and watch where the candle bodies close. So if I flip the 5-minute here and just full screen this, sell side pool, we already got even this. Scroll back here. We're already at all-time highs. Never mind. we're looking for liquidity sweep at a specific time. So 8:30, obviously, if you were using the 850 macro, could use that. But 9:30 now, where are we closing the candles? Well, wick down, took out sell side. Another one wicks down, taking out sell side, taking into a gap, and then we're closing above where that sell side line is, right? Candle closure above and candle closure above as we purge liquidity. So if you want to purge and revert, this is typically what you're going to see on the higher time frame. It's not always going to be visible on the 1 minute. If you go to the 1 minute, the candle bodies are closing like this, right? It's not going to be visible. Use the 5 minute as kind of your PD arrays. So because your higher time frames are always going to have more weight to them and more importance than the lower time frames. So use your 5 minute PD arrays, see how those are being respected. Obviously, there's a CISD here in hindsight, but use that. And then if you can use the 15 minute too, you can see here the 15 minute candle closure takes out sell side, and the original sell side here. Draw this out. Obviously, we're closing above this one too. Send that out. We're closing quite bullishly, right? So you can use that on almost any time frame, but you want to pair it with time. Okay, so you could be looking at this CPI high as your buy side. We also have a tiny portion in here that we're probably going to wick back and forth on. So look for a nice expansion up through the efficiently filled portion, but watch for a speed bump kind of in here in the sibi. But if you go back almost to any day and use this closure technique with time, it becomes very, very clear. Like if we go over here, scroll back. Yeah, perfect macro there. Here you go, 9:30. Or we can use 8:32. 8:30, sell side pool. This is yesterday. 8:30 news, sell side pool right here. Sweeps it out. And where's the closure? Above. Okay, so now we can use the 850 macro long. Where's another opportunity? Well, we have 940 here. So we're not going to be using that. 10 a.m. Nope. So you can use that as continuation, obviously. If you're looking for the current dealing range, it's going to be above here. There's buy side pool. Above here, there's buy side. But the time windows you're going to be looking at is between 8:30 and 9:30, 9:30 and 10, and then 10 and 11. That's kind of your windows of opportunity. So 8:30 with a liquidity sweep, up to 9:30 expansion with the equities open possibly. Then if liquidity is met, or if we're just continuing another direction, 9:30 to 10 will create an entry of some sort, and then 10 a.m. can reverse, and then 10 a.m. to 11 we're expecting an expansion mode, or even from 10:30 to, or sorry, from 10 to 10:30, then 10:30 to 11. So there's different kind of, it's all based on when we are reversing. I can't speak today. So we're using reversal conditions because you need a buy side sweep before sell side push. You need a sell side sweep before buy side push. So if you go back over here, see the perfect respect of the discount end of the sibi there. And you can see, so why did price come up to here and not project off of this? Extend this out. Why did I draw the sibi up here? It's because this portion, if you take the entire gap, efficiently filled, meaning we have both buying and selling through a gap, and then we close below. So now you can trim your gap. Although on higher time frames, if this gap is still present, it's going to be a wick. So like here, it is a wick, but the gap isn't present, so it's fine. 3 minute, obviously, it's not going to be there. As we increase the time frame, it's not going to be there. Also, you can look 15 minute. I'm sure we closed. Yep, same thing here, right? 8:30 news sweep. Here's your buy side. Wicks up. Where's the closure? Where's the closure? Sell side run. Now, sell side closure. We can look for a buy side. Although this today is also pretty poor. Like I wouldn't be trading this kind of. I would like to see expansion down to the London or the Asian low. But you can see this closure technique works. Obviously, yeah, the candle bodies are closing relative to this sibi, but if you trim it to where we actually efficiently filled, that's exactly where we're tapping. If you look at the candle body closure here, I'm not using the wicks because wicks are inefficient, but the candle body's here. So what's the candle body closure here? I don't know if can I call this out? Perfect, right? They just up to CE of the news high. Yeah, if you switch with higher time frame, sure. Right up to it. Definitely a nice macro though. I need to start just locking in. I don't know. I think I'm just too used to price action failing. I don't know. Next week we got CPI, different things. I might take a couple days off just to feel like I'm just not aligned with price. Or I'm just gonna stop looking at chat. One of the two. So now we can. So like I said, exactly. Too many minds. So 8:30 to 9:30, and this kind of model here, you're able to separate and have patience exactly what you're going to be looking for, right? So obviously with 8:30 news, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. becomes low probability. So we can kind of split this up here. But these windows, okay? Liquidity sweep at 8:30? No? All right, that's fine. Here, is there a liquidity sweep that's going on? And we can use continuation early into the macro, right? Then here, 10 a.m., is there a reversal that's going on? Obviously, we just took out buy side. You can use the candle wicks here. Let's look at the wicks. So here's your buy side. Did we close below? No. So we got to be careful to see if this is just retracing short term, tap into an order block like this, and we're going to continue back up into the unfurled portion, possibly for the buy side. I don't like the fact that this weekly profile is absolute garbage. If you look at it from a weekly perspective, go to the hourly here. Monday putting in the low of the week, Tuesday feeling to put in low, expands up. We don't get a Thursday or Wednesday reversal. I'm surprised even today we're expanding up. Like if we put Thursday high, sure, fine. Right? Like, okay, this slight wick here, technically the candle bodies are below, so you could see that as a low of week, but Thursday reversal, continuation back into the range. I don't like the fact that this is all the way up here. Anyways, but yeah, going back to what I was saying, this kind of model, if we don't have a liquidity sweep at 8:30, obviously you're not going to be looking at 8:30 if we have no 8:30 news. So you can just run it to 9:30. Do we have a liquidity sweep within this time window? No. Okay, we're going to skip that macro. Why are we trading a macro? Unless the only reason, there's kind of two reasons we're trading a macro, right? We just had a liquidity sweep. We're going to use it to scalp towards the opposite of the opposing side. Or there was a liquidity sweep in the previous window that we can now use as continuation going into this window, right? So if like 9:30 had a liquidity sweep and we're continuing towards a higher time frame target, then what do you think Silver Bullet's going to do? We don't need a liquidity sweep, another sell side purge. You can get it, but you don't need it. Then this can just continue, right? Say 9:30 creates a lack of Judas on a 9:30 true open. We're just expanding one way. Then we see the sweep liquidity, maybe right at 10, expands up. Then you can use either the first 10 minutes here or any time within Silver Bullet to try and scalp back up. Right, so if there's no liquidity sweep at these specific times, then you're either not trading the macro that's within it, or you're looking for that next, like if there's a liquidity sweep in here, then we can just use this as an expansion. Like, so we can see we're just tapped into the order block here. I would say if you're struggling with your model, this is something you want to study. Use the 1 minute, the 5 minute, and the 15 minute. Obviously hourly too, if we're looking at hourly or weekly profiles and just hourly gaps. You need the hourly and the 15 as targets. But then using that 15 and the 5 as your liquidity sweep confirmation, then use time to enter. For me personally, if between this large window, we can use the 850 to 910, which is right in the middle, right? Why does that work? Okay, we have another kind of window in here that's magically right in the middle, 1030 to 1045, right? Not directly in the middle, but it's close. If you wanted to just be perfect, then 1020 to 1040. Then we have 1050 macro right at the end in case we haven't expanded up. But I'll look for the rest of this sibi to be filled. We fill a gap here. Watch how this gap forms. Let me take this wick off. Can you see? I think the logic of not using the wicks is that since wicks are inefficient, they're basically liquidity pools. So when we remove the wicks, we can focus on market structure. We can focus on draws and liquidity, right? Yeah, that's why, I mean, you still do want to have the wicks on. Like I always debated, okay, if wicks are inefficient and we're using candle buys 90% of the time, why do we need the wicks? Obviously, it's important to have, but something like this it's gonna lack data. Like we're not gonna okay, if we're targeting the buy side, it's gonna be up here. We're not gonna see respective. You're not gonna see entry points sometimes. If we have a gap here, we'll be trading the gap, but we're not going to be wicking into. See how there's kind of a lack of a wick down into the order block. But maybe this is good to study. I've never actually studied like this. Just studying without the wicks. I'm actually curious if we go to higher time frames. This is also if you use the wick. Where's our sell side? But see, now on this, you can't tell if we're purging liquidity. Right? Obviously, we're going down here, but this just, to me, just looks like a failure. So we got to be careful with, I think, anything above the 1 minute not using wicks. But I'm actually curious if we go back over here. Liquidity purge. I don't even know what I'm looking for, to be honest. Let's just go back. Malaysian SNR is what it's called without wicks. I always wondered, like, what even is Heineken Ashy? Like, are those just expansion candles every single time unless you have multiple candles that close? I don't even know how that works. This week has not been working for me at all. All good. Yeah, this week I think was tough. From a higher time frame, it's difficult. That's why I just didn't like sending out daily bias. I didn't send one out today because it was just too wonky for me. 5 minute, we got an order block here. We're holding quite well, right? This is your breaker on the 5 minute. Extend this out. We want to see candle bodies close within there. It's like smooth candles to help you read the trend better. Yeah, it definitely is smooth. I just don't know how they print. I always wondered how they print. Yeah, it's all just retail stuff anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So 5 minute gap here's holding. See the 15. Could see expansion. It is outside of time. That's the only problem. Like if you were to have a wide stop on this, target at 20 points, I feel like it's pretty far. Up to me, consequent crush on the sibi. We don't know if the 5 minute either is going to be. I mean, if we're holding this order block, which we are, that's the context I'm using. Everything on the screen here is just demo. That's why it's not financial advice. All for legal purposes, to be honest, too. But it's both. Yeah, it's not using or not. It's not about using or not using. Dancing with the fractal nature, higher time frame wicks can be lower time frame breaker or order block, right? I mean, that's why it's always good to cycle time frames. Like if you're just stuck on the 1 minute, it becomes increasingly difficult to find where liquidity pools are, where we're actually holding on the higher time frames, 5 minute, 15-minute, things like that. What we're actually looking for in terms of profiles. Yeah, we're looking for continuation, although, yeah, we're in premium. Time to just close this out. I don't know, to be honest. I don't like the fact that was just a poor decision. Anyways, we're outside of macro time. We're at 50%, so we could see a Judas swing lower, take out short-term sell stops. I want to see this 5-minute candle is holding. Yeah, my mind is just not in the right spot. We're black here on the 5. Holding nicely. Let's see with 15. 15-minute closing above here as well, which would be a inversion order block. Yep. See you next week, my man. Overthinking too much? Yeah, I might need to just chill out. Just not take any trades next week and just get in line with price. I don't know. This whole week it just feels like just not aligned. Expanding up here. Five minutes really respecting that breaker and the gap wicked above. You see these higher time frames create a lot more of a context. Got 15-minute liquidity sweep closing above. We just use that breaker, low risk, second opportunity, third opportunity. ES just choppy. I haven't even looked at ES yet. Yeah, ES is not showing really any willingness to move lower. But you can see here, still liquidity sweep purged with 15-minute candle closure above. I'm sure on the 5-minute maybe there too. Yeah, 5-minute was above. So you can still be looking for buys over here. Although, yeah, we do have a gap. This larger 15 minutes, 5-minute gap, sorry. It's going to create resistance back and forth. Once we close above this order block here, this order block, if we close above it, that would be your order block within the IFEG. So we'd like to see it use as support, fly up. We also, we do have this 50-50 on ES for sure. We're still in discount, so I think I'd be fine with longs there, but, and there's the NQ run up for buy side. For Value God, recent video on like the psychology of this. I'll have to check it out. He's got some good content too. And as we run up for CPI high, look for ES to probably reach into 50% of their range as NQ takes out their high. And we've closed above the sibi now, so expect this to be used as inversion. Yeah, I didn't expect it either. I wanted to see this put in as high of the week. I mean, but with how bullish we are this week. Not surprising. Yeah, TGIF. That's why I was looking for Asian low. If you take the TGIF range from Monday low, which is weird, to Friday high, is perfectly in line with this. Would have been beautiful. So watch these as an inversion. We've got gap here as well as this inversion order block on this side, right on the premium end. Sorry, discount end of the inversion gap. Always skeptical when you don't see SMT, and this morning I haven't seen it yet. SMT at the lows, or you don't necessarily need SMT for the trade. Oh, the highs, I see. Yeah, I'm expecting ES to reach. I mean, they're pretty weak here. Like the fact, look at the 1016 expansion candles here. 1016, pretty wide there. So if we reach into 50% of the range, I'd be fine with that. I for sure don't think we're gonna reach up to there. Oh, there we go. So right at 50% now. Into a reclaimed fair value gap as well. So we're this close to buy side. I would still assume we were going to sweep it, but with ES now in premium, let's see how these PD rays here hold. We're already traded through one. Probably don't see any. These should be left open as breakaway gaps, right? Whenever 1050 will give a setup if we hit the buy side. It with how weird the day is for sure. I don't know if we'll put in the high at 10:30 or 11. That's just very weird to me, especially since like if you look at the here we haven't reversed on any three of the indices, which typically you reverse on one of them and you respect it going into New York, and then either reverse in New York or continue down as a retracement. Like here we had a reversal continuation, so reversal in New York. Here we have a reversal here, continuation going to New York, reversal, continuation. Here we have no reversal, no reversal. This is what I wanted to see. This exact kind of price action. Consolidation, failure to reverse on London, come up right here at 8:30 or 9:30, pierce the highs of London, tap into something. We're at all-time highs, so there's nothing to tap into, but pierce the highs and then just sell off going to 10:30. This is what I wanted to see. Like if you take a picture of this right here and then compare it to what we got today. See, the sessions are quite similar, but the New York just does not want to play around. It's similar, basically going into 9:30 and then 9:30 reverses. So beautiful respect there of the IFEG order block. Same thing here. So we've closed above this here. Would like to see the swing low at least be left intact. Higher time frames, let's check. Oh yeah, it looks fine. 15-minute. We're still expecting. We have 6 minutes left in this expansion on the 15. So we could still see the high taken out with this candle. ES though is having a struggle. If you go over to ES and look at their higher time frames, check this one, right? Gap, order block, all the way to the premium end, and we're just chopping around in the 5-minute gap. You can see right from 8:30 to 10:30. That's really your window of opportunity, your entire kind of session kill zone. When we have 9:30 as your true open, you're going to be looking from 9:30 to 11. Okay. The macros that work with 8:30 are going to be your 850, your 950. We're going to skip, most times we're going to skip the London close macro, and then we're going to go right to 1050. And then on a 9:30 true open day, we can get 950, obviously, this macro in here, all the silver bullet hour, and then maybe the end going into lunch. There are days where we expand going to lunch, other days we just consolidate, and then lunch brings about a stop run. So yeah, you can use that framework, the reversal framework here, like with the 8:30, 9:30, or 10. Now, most days that's going to create a setup every single day. The only exception to that would be low probability days, and my suggestion would be don't study the 1 minute on those low probability days. So on a Monday, something like that, or on a day maybe before CPI or day before FOMC where we're expecting it's going to be choppy, look for your 5-minute and 15-minute gaps. And disregard kind of the 1 minute price action unless it's in line with the 5-minute. So if the 1 minute is showing something opposed to 5-minute and 15, don't counter scalp on those days. So if you go over, I'm actually going to set an alert up here. If you go over to a low probability day, like all these days here, 8:30, all right, fine. 9:45. We don't have anything in here. Wednesday. Oh, we might have 10 a.m. news here. Anyways, 9:30, 9:30. Trying to find a poor price action day here. Tuesday. So we don't have 8:30 news. Don't have 9. Can use scalping techniques so that this 15-minute gaps is clear, but the 1 minute is probably back and forth multiple times. So if we're trading, if we decide to trade on a very poor probability day, it's going to be, first off, we're trading. We need to respect these higher time frame like invalidation points. So stop movement is going to be tough, or we just avoid them, which is probably preferred. Very weird week. CPI and PPI price maybe just waiting for CPI and it gets better. Possibly, yeah. I mean, if we're looking at quarterly shift and seasonal tendencies are expected to sweep lows during March and April, going to both of them. So using the 60, 40, 20 IPTA data range look back. So if we put in a high here, we have multiple sell-side liquidity pools. You can see they've been pulling up since January, even going to December, which I think that's too far. 60 days, 2 months. So if we want to put in a high here and then CPI starts sending us lower, I would look for us to trade lower going into March and April, put in a quarterly shift, trades back up. April, May puts in that high of seasonal tendencies, and then we go into summer months. If you look at the DXY, this is our prediction back from January 19th using seasonal tendencies. And we're pretty close to it. Anyways. Yeah, it's that. Yeah, if you don't FOMO win, I love that. Able to stay solvent and disciplined. That's a win no matter what, even win or loss. You can see the IVG order block gap here, 3 PD rays all holding quite well. And we're expected to expand up we're probably going to see some resistance through this wick like we are seeing here, but closure above AM high, I should see expansion up. Then we can call it a day. You take silver bullets or 2022 model. If yes, do you wait for market structure shift or just CISD? Silver bullet, I don't necessarily trade silver bullet between 10 and 11. I look for kind of split times in between there. I may change that going to the rest of 2024. I just want to kind of study the model again, and see if there's more opportunities within silver bullet window. 2022, I do trade, but I don't trade in the sense of I'm trading 2022. I just trade in the sense of that's the framework, and then I'm using macro times or something else to enter. I don't necessarily wait for market structure shift, because a lot of times on the higher time frames or even on the 1 minute, the market structure shift only happens later on, and your low risk opportunity is only given before we sweep the market structure shift. So for me, I'm looking for reversal confirmation. Either there's your high. Reversal confirmation, meaning are we sweeping liquidity and closing back up? Let me send this over to macro review and predictions chat really quickly. I have a whole different section of it. If you go to reversals and price, so we're looking for me, like if I was to trade the 2022, I don't like market structure shifts. I think they're too nitpicky. Which high are we looking for? When are we going to sweep it? I'm looking for the reversal signature, meaning are we getting kind of a quick closure down and quick closure back up? I'm looking for change in state. So yeah, what is that last down closing candle? Once we close above it, are we holding as a CISD? In this case, yes, we are. And then I'm looking for a breaker to form. Breaker to form, close above, and then respect. So, purge and revert. Looking for CISD and a breaker. That's my three kind of preference. Obviously, you're not going to get the breaker all the time, so it's kind of in that order. Purge, invert, CISD, and the breaker. CISD can also be an inversion gap at the bottom. Yeah, no problem. So yeah, there's your buy side sweep going right into 10:30. And that's your entire session right there. Nice market maker buy model. Not expecting it, but something definitely to look for. Look at that first FEG after the open. Let's see. Yeah, this one right here. That's a nice inversion right there. That is the one we marked out. I just left it there. I didn't leave it there. I want to see that trade all the way down into here. Go long. Definitely was difficult though. I was convinced that this 15-minute gap and the 15-minute breaker was going to hold us and shoot us lower. Oh, actually, let me send this trade. I forgot to send it. I don't know why. I got in there, overthought it, stopped us out. It would have been a nice run up to the buy side. Anyways, can correct it all I want after. Yeah, I want to study that. If you get pictures, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. If you get pictures of that opening gap, let me actually remove it. I want to study that for sure. There's a whole Q&A section. What color have we not used yet? Green. There you go. There's a whole Q&A post just based on this. So if you got any pictures, go to Q&A, and then it is the opening range first gap. So we can study that as well going into this Friday. So tomorrow could have a backtesting session. Trying to think. We may have to do it Sunday. I don't know for now. I might be busy on the weekend. So we can look at Sunday night, probably right before market open, just kind of get us aligned with things and back test. I wanted to back test opening range gap, and then what else do we have in here? Macro liquidity. I feel like that's not worth my time, to be honest. It is something to study, but I don't think I'm going to be implementing it. I studied it for about an hour yesterday. It's just not something I'm going to be looking at. It just feels like too much stuff. So opening range gap. Oh, first fair value gap, sorry. Was reading the weekly range protocol, weekly profile document that you shared. Just wondering if you can spend some time in the next backtesting session. Yeah, for sure. We can go over that. Yeah, if it's open Q&A. So if you got any questions for anything related to trading at all, it's fair game. So with 1030 putting in the high, we're basically done for the day, right? I mean, you can expect expansion possibly up into 11, but we're already at all-time highs. So going long at all-time premium is a little sketch to me, even picking tops. So I just don't like trading above here. So we'll go ahead and call it there. Stream recording will be uploaded by the end of today. I appreciate all you guys tuning in and sticking around, although I just was not aligned with price today. Yeah, so the poll will go out probably by tomorrow, I'll say. Or actually maybe by later tonight. I'll make sure to send a notification out so everyone's notified, and then you can vote on the poll there, or I'll just send out a time that we're expected. So have a safe and fantastic weekend. I will see you guys next week, Lord willing. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.